Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen. Special shout out to Sponge, Billy Special Cards. Hope your week at school was easy, little bro. Um, I'm gonna be honest with y'all before we even get started with this draft special. This is slapped together. This is quickly done, sloppily done. Definitely ran out of time. I've still got to put together the entire offensive special, and it's going to be slapped together kind of in a similar fashion. But I still feel like we're going to talk about a lot of names today. Of course, none of these names we're really going to be discussing are going to be heard about today in 2 hours when we go live with Sponge and David and everybody else again. Which, if you don't know, make sure you come back, check us out later at that point. Yeah, you got school, bro. Got to get through this draft. But I'm really excited about it. I honestly, if you know from my previous draft specials, we generally like to narrow this down to like 5 or 6 guys at each position group, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 5 guys. And kind of in that sense. So our first year, we found a lot of success, but I felt that too many of my guys were going in the 3rd round. And I just felt like it was too easy, if you get what I mean. And especially last year's draft special, we talked about it a little bit, that we avoided certain names just because they're names you had heard coming up so constantly, so consistently that people knew them. We found a lot of great success with our offensive line. I think, especially on the interior last year, the Rams getting one of the starters out of that. I think one of them went down to Miami, played pretty well as well. But with that being said, crack the fingers and we'll get started here. So to bring together this slapped up, sticked up, let me find the right camera angle that we want here. We'll go with that. So, of course, David, I gotta admit, I almost excluded David Walker because of that exact fact, Sponge, just because he is such a, like, everybody's like, yo, I want this kid. I want this kid. Everyone's hoping he's going to fall. We're going to see a fun run on Edge tonight. I'm really excited to see how this draft just even starts out in general. To we already lost the other viewer. Never mind. I was going to shout out and kind of explain it a little bit again, but we're starting with the defensive draft special this year. I weirdly feel like, other than interior offensive line, Baltimore's going to focus pretty heavy on this defense. And I want to, if I may, apologies. And I know I got to get through this draft special because it's 7:00. We got to go, and I still got to eat. I still got to walk my dog. But I want to just shout out Malaki Starks at pick 27. I mean, to get the consensus number 1 safety from like almost every pro analyst since the beginning of the draft at 27 is an absolute steal. What I'm most excited for is the ability, essentially. So if we're in a 3 safety look, and let's just say Darius Washington's the true back guy on the play in a sense, because he does do a very good job of keeping the ball in front of him. What it'll allow Hamilton and Starks to do, because they both play well in the slot and with man coverages, it'll allow them to flip that shell of the defense either way without either one of them having to really, like, case in point, if Hamilton's on a certain tight end, like let's say Kelsey on coverage, and Kelsey flips to the opposite side of the field, Hamilton would have to follow him because there's the other matchup's probably not a great matchup. But now Starks, just wave it off, communicate the change in coverage, and now Hamilton can creep up to the line of scrimmage and read the quarterback and the possible run option even harder. I think it's going to bring such versatility to the defense, and I'm excited for it. But let's get started here. So I wanted to shout out, before I moved through this, let me see if I can get my camera out of the way for y'all here. We're going to make me super small here so we can talk about this for a second. I wanted to shout out to, when I observe the combine drills, and I rate the performances. I then subsequently go back and I look at basically, I put it in tier one. Like you really looked good in the drills or you looked pretty good in the drills. Like, so still above other guys in the class. So I'm going to just be shouting last names and I apologize for this. But we're going to talk about some of these guys in the draft special a lot, is why also I'm just going to be shouting names. Hunt from SMU, Peebles from Virginia Tech, Pegs from Ole Miss, Stackhouse from Georgia, West from Indiana, Walker from Kentucky, and Williams from Ohio State were my tier one defensive standouts in the drills at the combine. Tier two guys, Tafuna from Utah. We're going to talk about him. Alexander from Toledo, Brinson from Georgia, Collins from Texas, Hamilton, Ohio, Harmon from Oregon, and then Smith from Alabama. Standouts at edge, of course, Ezaraku, Ivy from Ole Miss, Oladejo, Jackson, Pierce, Skirton, Sawyer, Swinson, Walker. Tier two guys like Diggs, Galat, and Roberts. Tier one linebackers, Campbell, Kaiser, Knight Jr. and Martin from Oklahoma State. A lot of these guys you either know, like Knight Jr., who aren't going to be on the draft special, but and it's to give you comparisons in a certain sense. Tier two linebackers, Carter from Clemson, I forgot how to pronounce his name, from Miami, and Medrano looked good in the drills, but we're going to talk about Medrano in the next slide. Tier one cornerbacks, that's going to be Kane, was at Eastern Michigan, Longer Beam, Porter, Ransaw from Tulane, Riley from Louisville, Smith from USC. Tier two guys, Bryant from Kansas, Dotson, Hancock, which was weird. I had to go back and double check. I thought he was a safety, but I guess he worked out at corner. Really cool. McWilliams from UCF and Williams from Cal. Tier one safeties, Crawford from Nevada, Reed, I think that was Penn State, Trader Jr. from Maryland, and then, of course, Starks. Tier two guys, Castro from Iowa, Ransom, Siegel, Verdun. Let's just go to the next slide. Y'all don't want to hear me talk about that anymore. Longer beam, longer team, you feel me? Welcome in, Oak Squirrel, by the way. So let's discuss specifically the interior offensive line. I avoided CJ West and Alfred Collins on the list, even though technically their big board grades are in the third round. However, I just big names in a certain sense. I talked about this the other day on the stream. There's actually two Toas in this class. There's Jay Toa from UCLA, and then there's Soan Toa from San Jose State. So I wonder if we'll see any type of bungle happen in a certain sense. Find that right camera angle again. I like that one where I'm at the top. Yeah, it works. We're going to talk about certain stat categories before we go through every team. Oh, dude, Tafuna was a linebacker convert that started at 225 pounds and moved to defensive tackle. And we're going to talk about him in just a minute. So talking about balls batted down at the line of scrimmage. I talk about this a lot. I like guys that know how to do that, how to read the quarterback, especially in short down passing situations. Horsley from Boston College, who, if you know any of my things, I've been a huge fan of, leads this class with 6 batted balls down. Ty Robinson and Tafuna, 4, puts them in like the top tier of this class in balls batted down. So again, things I like. If you're looking for A-gap defenders, there's not a lot of guys that meet the minimum snap category that also had more than 225 run defense snaps in the A-gap. Basically, you got Stackhouse from Georgia, who we're going to talk about, and a guy I wanted to include on this list, but I avoided, Brandon Brown from UTSA. But, might be a guy you can develop. An important category we're going to talk about a lot here is stops. These are plays that are significant plays for the defense that stop them. Soan Toa from San Jose State, 42 in this draft class. That's first, so Horsley is 4th in this class. And then Ty Robinson and Ty Hamilton, Ohio State and Nebraska, respectively, 8th. So they're making good plays when they need to. Tafuna, though, 0% missed tackle rate. Never missed a tackle, according to PFF, apparently. We talked about missed tackle rate with interior defensive linemen last year, specifically Davis, who ended up going to what was the Rams. And again, that translated real well into his run defense grades for the Rams. The Clemson kid. So again, love seeing that. Beware though, buyer beware. Some of the highest missed tackle rates in the interior defensive line class. Harmon from Oregon, 26.7. Zeke Biggers, 75.8. And Tonka Hemingway from USC, 23.3. But if you're looking for interior pass rush, the true pass set leaders in this class, Harmon from Oregon. So again, run defense, but Peebles, which again, we're going to talk about him. DJ Sanders from USC, which I know a lot of the 49er fans I think have been talking about recently. Norman Lott from Tennessee. And of course, Mason Graham, who went in the first round. But let's get into the guys that I'm focusing on. I know, Sponge, that's actually for tonight. I probably should have disabled it, but it's fine. So I'm gonna literally get me off screen here for these to try to give you all the biggest. So sorry if it's hard to see. I wish I could make it a little better for you. I tried to put these in order of the bigger names going to the smaller names. So we talked about Ty Hamilton, looked good at the combine, showed up on our numbers, of course, for stops and stuff like that. Of course, Ty Robinson, same category, balls batted down, stops. They definitely have a role to play in the NFL, but again, you love to see too, Ty Hamilton had a good game against Penn State, played poorly towards the end of the season. Don't really know what happened there with him. Ty Robinson on the other side, good game against Ohio State, good game against UCLA, good game against USC, finished out strong against Boston College, which, Boston College ain't no slouch. I think Ty Robinson's going to be kind of a steal for someone later in this draft. 12 years minimum or 12 games every year. 500 plus snaps for 3 years straight. He's maintained double-digit hurries. He's had 4 balls batted in back-to-back seasons while increasing his sack numbers. I like the growth that I see out of Ty Robinson. Looking on the other side, Ty Hamilton's honestly more of a gut feeling thing. And again, he's played 3 years. He had a better year in 2023 than 2022, but it's almost like a gut feeling on Ty Hamilton from Ohio State. I'm going to be honest with you. And that was how it was with Jalen Coker, is just watching them, how they move. Moving down the list, everyone knows about Peebles from Virginia Tech. Everyone loves them. As you can see there, it's kind of hard to see on the right. Can I make this any bigger? Can I just literally take me off screen completely? Is there a way to do that? I guess that's a little better. I'm taking myself off screen entirely. Peebles, 17.8% pass rush win rate, one of the highest true pass sets. Pretty good run defense. 3-year starter, improved every year. 20 plus hurries in 2 years in a row. Plays A, B. He had great games against Clemson, Syracuse, Miami, which everyone knows about that Miami offensive line. You're going to see guys, of course, always have little games somewhere. It's college, man. They're not devoting it to full time. Yeah, Sanders going to Cleveland would not surprise me. Skip Bayless says that the Giants picking Dart over Sanders is laughably sad. It actually might be but Dart's got some good numbers, but I'm not sold on the person. But if we're going to talk about some pass rush from the interior, we're going to talk about Riley Mills, the defensive lineman from Notre Dame. Again, 3-year starter, had a better 2023 year than 2024 year. 20 plus hurries in back-to-back years, had his sack numbers increased technically from 2023, 14.3% pass rush win rate. Had some good games there at the end, the Indiana Hoosiers, USC, Virginia, played well against Georgia Tech and Stanford. He started the season a little slower, had a weird game against Army and Florida State and Navy, which I don't blame him. I think this kid Riley Mills is going to be a guy that might be able to come in as a rotational player his rookie year and give you a couple sacks, maybe only 4, but from more of an interior defensive lineman stance, I'm okay with that in a first year. But now we start to move down the list. So we talked about Cam Horsley a lot here. Balls batted down, stops, leads a lot of categories in this. If you can see there on the screen, run stop rate 14.4%, basically top of the class in the run stop rate. Again, a 3-year starter. He's not going to be a pass rush guy. I'm going to be honest with you. This is not a guy that's going to probably push the pocket for you. But if you're looking for a plug and play guy that can probably start and give you some dang good run defense and play good football and is smart, this is a guy for you. And I'm telling you, I feel like he's been slept on constantly throughout this process. The other guy we're going to talk about, we mentioned Hunt earlier. He was one of our guys that starred at the combine. He looked really good in drills. And he's the less talked about guy on that line. Everyone knows Elijah Roberts. We're going to cover him in the next position group at edge. But Jared Harrison Hunt, 2-year starter, kind of could almost be a 3-year starter at SMU, has a pretty decent pass rush win rate. Didn't play well against Penn State, but I mean, Pitt, Boston College, Virginia, Cal, Stanford, had some dang good games. 20-plus hurries in 2 straight seasons, increased his hurry and sack numbers dramatically, getting more pass rush snaps. I think this kid's, again, gonna be a steal if he goes to the right system. I don't know if maybe everyone has been sleeping on him because of Elijah Roberts, his running partner over there at SMU. But I think this kid's gonna be a steal for somebody. And it's why, I'm telling you, I'm having such a hard time narrowing down my draft list here a little bit. Moving down the list, though, we're going to talk about our A-gap guy, Nazir Stackhouse. Now, nothing, when you look at it, nothing stands out about him. But when I'm talking, you're looking for A-gap guys that played at least 225 snaps in the A-gap, there's not a lot of them that stand out. But this, look at that. That is a 3-year starter, played 14 to 15 games, 3 years straight. He played mostly A-gap. He moved more. I mean, I guess I'd say technically he did play more B-gap, but I'm telling you, when you're looking at the A-gap numbers in this draft class, it's slim pickings. And again, this is not a guy that's going to come in and give you pass rush. He might not be a 3-down defensive lineman for you. He might be coming out on 3rd down and long. But if you're looking for a run defense, nose tackle type of guy in this draft class, played pretty well against Bama, played well against Mississippi State. I mean, Texas and Florida, not terrible, but he held his own against a lot of major competition this year. Again, not going to be your pass rush. 0 sacks, 0 hits this year, only 7 hurries. But if you're looking for a guy that can help you stop the run immediately, you got to grab yourself a stack. So the guy on the right, though, we talked about a little bit, looked good in drills, caught my eye, leading stops. He's a linebacker convert, 0% missed tackle rate, and that's Junior Tafuna out of Utah. Played good against Iowa State, didn't have any eye-popping games, and of course the limited competition. Played primarily B-gap. I think he might be 290. He might be a little lighter. I can't remember 100%. Again, not probably going to be your biggest pass rusher guy, but he's a guy that can kind of win with some speed on the inside, obviously because of that former linebacker. He plays well in space. Run stop rate, actually at the higher level of this class, pretty good run defense grade, but again, who did he play against? Had a 71, though, against Cam Scattergobo in that Arizona State. So he played pretty decent against some of these teams. Definitely could be played better, but basically a 3-year starter that really bloomed in his final year in college. I'd give him a shot late, absolutely. And it looks like Oak and the Sponge are talking about quarterbacks, Sanders and all that. All right, moving on because we got to get going. It's 5:30. We got to be ready before 7. Quick notes on the edge. The hurry leaders of this draft class, and when I go through these lists, it does not include every single name, but it's including guys that performed or higher profile names. So Elijah Roberts, SMU, Ugwu from Miami, Ohio, who we're going to talk about, Galot from Louisville, 6 on the list, and Jack Sawyer from Ohio State, 7th. Of course, we talked about balls batted down with the defensive line. We're going to talk about it here. Sawyer leads the class with 6. Birch from Oregon with 4. Expected to be a higher pick, though. Lowest missed tackle rates among this class, Ezaraku with an 8.1%. Jared Ivey from Ole Miss and Oladejo at the top of this class. Some of the worst offenders, though, at tackle rate, Ingram Dawkins, Savion Jones, Elijah Roberts, which we're going to talk a little bit about that. Shamar Stewart, which we talked about a lot last night, Ugwu, and Hassanin. But what's funny is when you see a name on lowest missed tackle rate, but they still show up a high on the stop numbers, that's a signal that they are so constantly after the ball, in a sense, which means if you can up that missed tackle rate and improve their tackling, they could really blossom into a great defender. So again, some of those names we just talked about, Uwu, Hassanin, Elijah Roberts. So when we go to the stops, we're going to talk about McLeod from Auburn, Landon Jackson from Arkansas, Ryland, we're going to talk about him, Virginia, Ugwu, Swinson, and Hassanin. So there's Ugwu and Hassanin popping up again they're leading in the stop category, but also having a missed tackle rate that's high. That's high effort. It's coachable. We can make it work. Hit category leaders, Ezraku, Hassanin, Sawyer, Princely from Ole Miss, Ugwu, and JT Tulemu from Ohio State. True pass set leaders, though, that's, by the way, the true pass Stewart, that's Josiah Stewart from Michigan, who we're going to talk about. I could have left him off the draft special. Abdul Carter, Braden Swinson, Mike Green, Galot, and then Princely. But let's get to those guys. So again, talking about the bigger names, you could see maybe both these guys come off in round 2, but it's highly unlikely. Sponge says, sorry, Levi, I'll see you tonight. I'm going to watch. Yeah, no worries, Sponge. Have fun, my bro. Josiah Stewart coming in here. Again, 3-year starter, one of the true pass set leaders. He's got to find the right team to employ him. I think he's a 4-3 end in a sense, but man, pair him up with Aiden Hutchinson, and it could get scary over there in Michigan. Jack Sawyer, we mentioned him a bunch. Super long arms, if I'm not mistaken. High pass rush win rate, high true pass, high run defense. He played in a ton of high football games. Texas, Michigan. He had bad games against Penn State and Notre Dame, but I'm not going to hold those against him. He's again kind of like Stewart, got to go to the right system to work. I think Sawyer's Josiah Stewart, I'm sorry, can be a line for 3-4 end. Sawyer's the 4-3 defensive end. My apologies. But both guys, huge potential. Some of the bigger names you're going to see. Moving down the list, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Elijah Roberts on the right side. Elijah is one of those bigger names I could have left off the special just because he has been talked about so much. He's probably going to make a team happy. One of the guys, though, a little bit of injury issues, Kadarius Robinson, less talked about Alabama linebacker. I've seen him go a lot in the 5th round. He's got some potential if he can, play and get healthy. Wouldn't mind seeing him come to the Ravens potentially later in this draft, but I wish the best for the young man. But let's move down the list. Ashton Galot, we talked about a lot, one of the true pass leaders. Louisville, me, Kenny, a lot of the guys have drafted this guy in a lot of our drafts. I think he's going to go 3rd round. I just think we're going to see a run tonight in the 3rd round on these edge rushers. 40 hurries in back-to-back seasons. Gets after the passer. Got it done versus Miami. Got it done versus Boston College, Kentucky, Pittsburgh. Even Notre Dame's not a bad game for him. He's going to come in right away and make some waves more than likely. One of the guys, though, so Antoine Powell Ryland, less talked about guy, 3-year starter over there for the Virginia Tech Hokies, mostly outside tackle kind of guy. I think he plays with a lot of effort. He's had 20 plus hurries in back-to-back seasons, 10 plus sacks back-to-back seasons. Didn't play as well against that Miami O-line, but like same thing like Boston College. Like you can literally look over at Galut and see that same competition they played against. He could have played better against some of those teams, but I think there's always certain circumstances. And like we talked a little bit about, he's one of those guys that's leading in the stops category. So might not be that true pass rusher type of guy that you're looking for, but I think he's a hard effort hustle to the guy and didn't show up on the missed tackle rate. So that's always a good thing to see. Moving down the list, David Walker, everybody's talked about him as well. I could have left him off the list. Central Arkansas pass rusher, didn't play the highest level of competition. But I feel like if you're talking about a little Mike Green, a cheap Mike Green in this draft, that you're drafting David Walker in a sense. I could be wrong there, but he's probably going to be a guy that gives you high effort, high engine type of player. But the last guy I feel like nobody talks about, but I slightly understand. He's developmental projects, didn't play against high competition, but he did see a couple guys this year. And that's Brian Ugu from Miami, Ohio. 3-year starter, 40 hurries in back-to-back seasons. Didn't really get the sacks there, but he shows up on stops. He did have a high missed tackle rate, and he's got high pressures. Again, if we're looking for potentially a high effort type of guy. Hey, welcome in. It's our boy Peo. I know I'm not on camera right now, so I can try to get the best graphics up there on the screen. But yeah, man, we're finding all the late round guys. I feel like if Ugu goes to the right place, like he's got a potential to be one of those guys and develop maybe in the NFL for a year. Yeah, I'm sorry it's a little cut and dry too, Peo. We were super behind on everything this year, so I'm not going to lie. I slapped this together pretty quickly. I think this is the last edge. You could consider this guy kind of like Ryland, linebacker edge in a sense. Oh, dude, Peo, I love the Rams trade last night. I know you had to go back 20 slots for it, but to gain another first-round pick next year and possibly game plan for Stafford's future, basically you get a chance to see if that Georgia kid can really, turn his life around and be that guy. And if he's not, the Rams have got all the future picks they need to make it work. Yeah, I was a fan of it, Peo. But Jalen McLeod, another guy, I think he's our last edge rusher guy. He's a linebacker edge, smaller guy, started at Appalachian State, moved to Auburn. But you like to see that basically he got better every year in a sense. He only took a minimal step playing 200 more snaps at Auburn and then played even more snaps and played even better. He's got pass rush potential. I think he's got linebacker potential. He put together a great game against Alabama, Oklahoma. He played with some good competition. And if you're on PFF's big board, he's not even there, in the top 250. Quoting an NFL scout, he might not be that name but he's definitely going to make some defensive coordinator really happy. He played 35 snaps in the slot even this year, 24 over the tackle. He plays a little bit of everywhere for Auburn. Again, another, I think, high effort type of player that's just he's going to find a place in the NFL somewhere, and I think nobody's talked about this kid. Peo says, I like the draft capital for the future, but I'm also cool if the Rams use it at the trade deadline. And you're not wrong there, Peo. Your GMs have shown a tendency to trade away picks for players that they believe in. And if there's a glaring hole in that Super Bowl potential run, yeah, they could definitely pull the trigger on some of that ammo to use it. Definitely agree with you on that, Peo. Love this kid, though. 6'1", 236, Auburn linebacker edge player. Cruising through because we got to get ready for the draft tonight. Lowest missed tackle rates among the linebackers. We're talking Paul Jr. from Ole Miss, Kaiser from Notre Dame, Dolak from Buffalo, Campbell, who we saw go in the first round to the Eagles, and Schlesinger from UCLA. Notable name on the high missed, one of the guys we talked about who looked good at the combine, Madrano from UCLA, 26% missed tackle rate. Oh, red flag. Oh boy. Oh my God, I threw my pen. High list on the stops. We've got that Dolak kid from Buffalo with 76 stops, which we're going to talk about him on some of these later slides. Campbell again showing up the first round pick. Martin from Oklahoma State, who we said also looked good at the combine. Not going to show him on the draft special, but again, high effort kid. Woodard from ULV, we're going to talk about. Stutzman from Oklahoma State, who might go tonight. And then Paul Jr., of course, who we talked about in the lowest missed tackle rate. Highest in the pass breakup category. Woodard from ULV coming in with 11 pass breakups. Paul Jr. coming in with 4. Another stat we're going to talk about, lowest NFL rating when targeted. This is going to be a stat that we're also going to focus on the cornerbacks and safeties with. Salopak, Miami, Ohio, Dolak from Buffalo, Higgins from Ohio State, which I'm praying Baltimore takes Jay Higgins from Ohio State. I am praying. Woodard, who we've already talked about a lot, and Knight Jr., who we're probably going to see go here in round 2 or 3. Highest rating when targeted, guys that you might want to give some consideration to: Barrett Carter, Kobe King, Jalen Walker, and Stutzman from Oklahoma State. And Oklahoma, sorry. Kobe King, though, we're going to talk about that one here in a moment. Just, it's hard to not have him out there. He just played against a lot of really good teams. And even though he has that high target rating, I think possibly taking a third round swing on him is just too hard to pass up on. I think he's got enormous talent, 3-year starter, Penn State. Just everywhere for that team this year. It's just hard to pass on him. Had to include him. Jack Kaiser, another name you heard come up here a couple times. 3-year starter, Notre Dame, played better in 2023. But again, Notre Dame played a lot of good teams this year. Played good against Ohio State. Played good against Penn State. Played good against Georgia. Played good against USC. I just see so many good things. I can't say enough. He might have a little bit of struggles in pass coverage, but I think if you're looking for, so my belief at linebackers is that you have one guy that is your quick to the ball, flies everywhere type of guy. He doesn't come off the field on third down. He's also your pass coverage guy. That second linebacker in the middle line in the 3-4, I like to be a little beefier, a little bigger. He's still got to get the job done. Well, welcome back, Sponge. He's got to get the job done, but I like him to be able to basically eat a fullback block, if that makes sense. And I think Jack Kaiser can slide in somewhere and make that work on a team in a sense. So he might not ever be linebacker number 1, but he's got high potential for linebacker 2. Wow, Sponge, y'all tried trading up multiple times for Jihad and he just fell into your lap. That's absolutely beautiful. Good to know. So one of these guys we've been talking about a couple times here now showed up on the stops list, showed up on, lowest missed tackle rates. That's Sean Dolak, linebacker for the Buffalo Bulls. Now, of course, Buffalo, you got to talk about the level of competition he played at, which isn't great. But this is a kid that played 900 snaps last year, 822. Look at that, too. 166 snaps at the slot position. He played a little bit of everywhere for them, and he played pretty well. I'm telling you, there is a small chance that Sean Dolak could be an undrafted rookie free agent, and I think it would be a crime. The kid deserves a shot somewhere, he might need a year to develop in the NFL, but that's the nature of the draft. That's how things happen. Um, we did our 1-year review. We've got to do our 2-year review on our 2023 draft class, but it looked pretty good last time I checked. I'm really excited for the 5-year. But enough about Dolak. We already praised. We secretly want the Ravens to draft this guy on the right, Jay Higgins. He had a great game against Ohio State. He played some pretty dang good competition, up and down type of player, but basically a 3-year starter that, again, in 2023, 900 plus snaps. He has over 100 snaps at the slot position in back-to-back years. I doubt y'all can read those numbers. I think Jay Higgins is going to make some defensive coordinators so happy. And if he doesn't go into third, I think someone's going to get a steal. And that's good to hear, Sponge, that Jahad Campbell is going to be healthy for training camp. Good to know. And welcome in, everyone. If you've got a question on what's going on, this is the draft special where we focus on third round and later picks. Defensively, especially, we already moved through interior defensive line and edge. We're moving through linebackers right now, where we're going to start getting to some names maybe that. Oh, wait, I thought I had them. Oh, okay, I know what's going on. My other guys I had to change the slides for. So we talked about this guy a little bit too. Leads in lost stops, leads in missed tackle, or the lowest missed tackle category. And that's Chris Paul Jr., the linebacker from the Ole Miss, the Mississippi Rebels. 3-year starter. I think he's got a lot of potential. Played really good against LSU, Georgia, Mississippi. Didn't have great games against USC and Oklahoma and Florida especially, but I think he's got some potential. I think again, he might not be the guy for everybody, but I still think he's going to make a defensive coordinator super happy here on day 3. We're going to get to some of the smaller guys now. Chandler Martin. And so these guys aren't on the big board. So what I had to do is I had to pull their player profiles or defensive grade charts from the overall stat numbers. And that's Chandler Martin, 6 foot 230 linebacker from Memphis. Of course, with Memphis, there's always going to be the competition level, but played against Florida State, played against Tulane, West Virginia, UTSA, had some good games. He's a 3-year guy that's played over 700 plus snaps. 3 years. I think North Texas had a more air-centric offense as well. Maybe I'm mistaken. Sponge, love Jay Higgins, dude. He's going to be a star. But the thing that I liked about the Florida State for him game, yes, he struggled in coverage. Where was it? But he was only targeted in that game one time. So 1 target for 28 yards. But he's tackled well. And for his caliber of team playing against Florida State, generally that's the type of game where you see tackle numbers drop. So if you're looking for a developmental linebacker that maybe can run to the ball and tackle well, I feel like this guy is going to be a potential guy. 14.4% missed tackle rate over the full year. And again, this is a guy, he might go undrafted, to be honest with you. But I think it's a guy that maybe if you're sitting there 6th, 7th round and you need a linebacker to maybe develop into a guy, I think he can be that guy for you in a certain sense. Going to talk about another guy no one talks about, Branson Combs, 6'3", 228 linebacker out of Wake Forest. Played well against Miami, played pretty good against Duke, had a good game against Stanford, Virginia. Had some up and downs here, but generally where you see him struggle in one category in a game, he excelled in other. I truly think part of any of his struggles might have been more to schematic and how they ran the defense in a sense, if that makes sense to you. Missed tackle rate 6.3%. He got a really great tackle rate. Again, and Miami and Duke had great coverage. Of course, Miami looks like he didn't play a lot of snaps, so I'm guessing he got injured in the Miami game, so you could kind of toss that one out in a sense. But again, if you're looking 6th, 7th round type of guy that might be able to develop for you, I think Branson Combs gives you a pretty good a Southern Illinois guy that moved up to Wake Forest and still played pretty well. Great tackle numbers. So again, we're looking at a guy that runs and tackles for you, and that's what we're looking at here. And I think, our final guy, we talked about this guy a lot. You've seen me draft him on some of David McNiner's draft specials, and that's Jackson Woodard, the 6'3", 230-pound linebacker from the UNLV Rebels. UNLV played some decent teams this year: Boise State, Cal, San Jose State with the air raid, Oregon State, Kansas. Again, this is the guy that we talked about. Looking down at my notes here. High on the stop rates, great tackler. He's got 11 pass breakups on the season. 3 against Utah State, 2 against Syracuse, 1 against Houston, and 3 against Cal in the bowl game. This is a guy that I think excelled, and when he played Cal in the bowl game, he balled out, bro. He balled out. 7 stops in that Cal game. He was everywhere for them. So 6 stop against Fred. I like this kid. I think he's going to be a steal wherever he goes here on day 3. I just hasn't been talked about a lot. And again, when we talk about lowest rating when targeted NFL, Woodard on that list. I actually forgot to add Salopak onto one of my slides here. Salopak from Miami, Ohio, another one of those guys. I think he's going to find a home here. Moving on to corners, because I got to get this done as fast as possible. Yeah, a lot of people think Charles Grant Sponge is going to go here in the 2nd round, and I could definitely see it. He's still rising up draft boards. Quickly going to run down the numbers. Lowest missed tackle rate among these corners. So if you're looking for a high tackle guy, that's Zy Alexander, LSU, Stone from Hawaii, Strong from Virginia, Williams from Cal, and Frazier from UTSA. Guys to worry about their tackle rates, that's Harris from Iowa with a 26.3% missed tackle rate, Riley Lee from Louisville, Fortune from USC, Longerbeam, and Dotson from Kansas with a 19.7 to kind of give you a range on those missed tackle rates. Highest stops on this list, that's going to be Jones from Colorado State, Burke from Ohio State, Bryant from, of course, Kansas State, Smith from USC, Fortune, and Barron from Texas. Another thing keep an eye on: 0 touchdowns allowed last year. McCarty from Texas Tech going to be on that list. Richard from Temple. Barron, of course, from Texas, who went last night. Brown, Blades, and Smith, Oladokun, and Thomas. Other than Thomas, of course, from SSU, we're going to talk about all those other names here in a minute. Interception leaders: Williams from UCLA, Frazier, UTSA, Oladokun, Bowling Green, and Dotson from Kansas. Pass breakup leaders, that's going to be Muhammad from Oregon, Amos from Ole Miss, Oladokun from Bowling Green, Longerbeam, Williams, Barron, and Riley. And again, you're hearing a lot of these names, repeating. Lowest NFL rating when targeted: Oladokun, 18.4% leads the draft class. Barron, of course, Bowling Green, though, the competition, but we'll get to that in a minute. Barron, of course, number 2 on that list. Harris from Iowa, so don't let the missed tackle rate fool you. Frazier, UTSLA. Carter Jr. from Eastern Michigan missed out on the list, but he has some potential here in 6th, 7th round. And Silas Walters, another Miami, Ohio guy that we're going to talk about. There are only 26 cornerbacks with 200-plus slot snaps with the 20% minimum snap numbers on. And if I up that number to 50%, there are only 16 true slot corners in this draft class. But we're going to talk about that when we get to the safeties, because a lot of these dudes at safety played a lot of snaps at slot. So I feel like we're going to see a lot of safeties taken in day 3 that are more about these slot guys. Highest man coverage usage cornerbacks in this draft class. We're going to talk about Clark from Notre Dame. That's Travis Hunter, Smith from USC, Amos from Ole Miss, Thomas from FSU, and then Stone from Hawaii. If you're looking for a zone corner, you're looking for any Ohio State cornerback. We'll just say that. Barron, which of course went in the first round. Frazier, we're going to talk about. Blades, we're going to talk about. Riley, we're going to talk about. And Oladokun, we're going to talk about. But when we're talking specifically about slot corners, which is why Clark's on this list, we're also going to talk about Profit from Northern Illinois and Mays from Texas A&M. But we'll get to that here shortly. So again, cornerbacks, we're starting with some of the bigger names that you're going to, you probably heard a bunch. Jalen Smith, USC. One of the guys that stood out at the combine for me, Williams from California as well. These two guys are going to be day 3 steals if they go day 3. I'm not going to harp on them a lot because they've played a lot. Jalen Smith started as a slot corner that slid outside and found a lot more success playing outside for the Trojans than inside. Noah Williams, basically a 3-year starter outside there. Great ball skills. Again, he's going to make someone super happy. Moving on, we talked about O'Connell. Fortune has maybe some tackle issues. But if you're looking for a dang good corner, look how he played against Alabama. Played not the best against LSU, but he played against some good competition this year. Outside corner. Where's my pass breakup list? I'm so sorry. I'm trying to work through my notes. My apologies. But he's the guy that makes stops. So even though he has the missed tackle rate issue, the high stop number shows that he's a high effort type of player. And it's why I've been taking him a lot in my mock drafts. Essentially a 3-year starter in a sense. And I just like the amount of snaps that he's played in a sense. And he's allowed a low passer rating when targeted. Moving on to the other side, Jabbar Muhammad, again, 3-year starter. I like guys that have a lot of snaps. Played a little bit of slot last year, plays more exclusively outside, but they moved him around a good bit. More zone than man type of guy. But again, one of the leaders in the pass the leader in the pass breakup category, which is something I like to see. Had pretty good games against Michigan, Penn State, and UCLA, Boise State. Played Ohio State twice. Didn't have the best grades, but not the worst grades. I think day 3, he's going to be a dang good corner depending on where he goes. He's not, he might not be a star, but if you're looking for maybe a number 2 corner, he might be able to be that guy for you. So these are some of the names you heard me mention a little bit earlier. Cam Stone from Hawaii. And then did I accidentally include Oliver? I didn't mean to. No, I'm like, oh, did I just put someone on there I didn't mean to put on? I thought I had him on there for a reason, and now I'm like reading through my notes. I'm like, he's not supposed to be on there. So ignore Cameron Oliver, the UNLV guy on the right. Not bad, but I forgot I didn't do these slides right. But Cam Stone, one of the highest man usage guys, like we talked about. I'm so sorry. I'm like everywhere with my notes right now. My apologies. It's Hawaii, the level of competition, but he's got potential to be a guy that just follows around. He'll probably move inside at that 5'10" size, but I think Cam Stone's got some potential somewhere. Yeah, and Sponge, that's what I'm saying. Cam Stone, I'd have to go back here to because I don't think I wrote that part. Yeah, he's one of the highest man usage corners, meaning he basically followed a man around constantly. And anyone that plays a good amount of snaps, he played UCLA, Boise State, Washington State, Nevada, UNLV, Utah State. He played some not terrible teams this year. And considering the amount of times that he was used in man coverage, I actually do like him. I forgot why Cameron Oliver was on there. I think I took him off, though. But Cam Stone's got some size to him. So if he can be a man slot type of guy that can, at 200, be able to play closer up to the line of scrimmage, he could find a nice home in the NFL, honestly. And again, we're mentioning some of those zone usage guys. And so we've got one of the highest zone usage guys, Brian Blades from Florida International University, next to the highest man usage guy in this draft class, Jordan Clark. Jordan Clark, of course, we mentioned the highest slot usage. So again, if you're looking for a guy that played a ton of slot against high-level teams, this is your guy. Jordan Clark, one of his best games of the season came against the Penn State Nittany Lions, played against Georgia, played against Ohio State, Florida State, that's Indiana, had a bad game against USC, Cal, but, considering like traveling, sometimes it can get rough. Started out at Arizona State, transferred to Notre Dame, and had his best year of his career at Notre Dame playing at a higher level. I'm telling you, if it is, it's a green flag in my book. This kid deserves a draft spot somewhere. And I think he's going to be a steal as a slot cornerback in the NFL. Mark my words. This kid, I don't want to put that expectation on him. This kid could maybe be a Pro Bowl slot corner in the NFL. But it might take a year for him to get there. But I've got faith in this kid. And again, if you're looking for slot cornerback exclusively in this draft class, I really challenge you to find a guy, especially after today's draft on day 3, that's going to give you as much value. On the opposite side, Brian Blades, the cornerback from FIU, one of the highest zone usage guys. He might need a year to develop, but I like that he grew every year at FIU. He got better. He played a great game against Central Michigan, played pretty good against Curtis Rourke and his Indiana Hoosiers. Again, FIU, not the highest level of competition, but if you're looking for a high zone usage corner that can maybe develop and has pretty good ball skills, I think you're looking at this type of guy. And again, one of the highest, I thought it was him. I should have read my notes more. Moving on. So if we're talking slot, I just mentioned Brian Mays, third on that list, slot usage, 6'1", 195 cornerback from the Texas A&M Aggies. His best game of the year came against LSU, but he definitely had some up and downs throughout this season. I think didn't play as many snaps. I don't know if it was injuries or such. But again, if you're looking exclusively day 3 for a slot corner, I think Brian Mays adds a lot of value. He's a guy that, again, you can see it there on the right side of his thing. Started at a smaller college, moved up after his 3rd year, and then finally his 4th year moved to Texas A&M, where, again, he had the best year of his career. If you're looking for a slot corner, Brian Mays should be on your list. Jordan Oladokun, though, we talked about his name on NFL. He has the lowest NFL rating when targeted in this entire draft class. Played at Bowling Green, so of course there's competition issues, but he's played 2 years well, didn't have a terrible game against Penn State. A&M ate him up a little bit, but if you're looking for a developmental corner in this draft class that could, possibly really develop into a guy for you, he's your guy. And again, high usage in zone, so he's a guy that can probably sit back and go make a play on the ball. Oh, Sponge confirmed. That's Ryan Clark's son from Notre Dame. That's awesome, man. I hope he succeeds. But Oladokun, sneak pick on day 3 from Bowling Green, 6 foot 190. A lot of these guys like him, I love that. I think he's got great size, and I think he's got the potential. He might just have to be coached up a little bit. And when we're talking about prototypical size, we got to talk about a guy that came up on a lot of those lists we mentioned earlier. That's Zaw Frazier. Had his first full year, only played 5 games in the previous 2 years. Didn't play well in his one big game against Texas, which is alarming. But Zaw Frazier is a guy that you take if you think you can coach him up on the technique. He's got all the measurables that you're looking for in a prototypical corner. His rating when targeted is actually not that bad. I wish I had the Texas numbers specifically for you. But Zaw Frazier is going to be a project corner in round 3 that's got a chance to develop in year 2. Talking then again about the slot usage, though, we mentioned earlier Profit. This is the Northern Illinois guy, Jason Profit, 5'11", 187, played a pretty good game against Notre Dame, Central Michigan, Bowling Green, Don't know if he'll be a year 1 guy, but again, if you're looking for a guy that played a lot of I'm sorry, he's not my slot guy. I just think he's got potential. That's all I'm gonna say. Oh, didn't we already do Brian Mays? Yeah, we did. I didn't need that. All right, that's where I missed out on a guy somewhere. It'll be okay. We just got to keep moving. Size matter. He's 6'3", and that's what I'm saying. Like that prototypical size, absolutely love it. Talking about the safeties, lowest missed tackle rate, Trader Jr. from Maryland, Malaki Moore from Alabama, Evan Worry, Ransaw from Tulane, Stout. We're going to talk about him, and Starks, and you're going to see those names come up constantly through these lists. Highest missed tackle rate, Ashbury, I think. Was that Virginia? And Bowman Jr. from Oklahoma State. So 0 touchdowns allowed, Brides. So they actually played him at safety a good bit. Crawford, Watts, Makuba, and Evan Worry. And, Crawford, we're going to talk about. Xavier Watts is probably going to go today. Same thing with Makuba. Is Evan Worry still on the board technically? Did he? Yeah, he's still on the board. That's wild. Pass breakups, we're going to talk about. We're not actually going to talk about Roberts from Marshall, who could be a steal, but we're going to pass on him. Moore from Alabama, Hancock from Ohio State, Makuba, Evan Worry. NFL rating when targeted, Makuba, which again, he's going today. Carter Jr. from Eastern Michigan. We mentioned him earlier. Bridges, why are they included in the safety numbers? Anyway, Evan Worry, Crawford, Moore. Highest slot usage safeties, which means they had at least 350 snaps in the slot, which is more than some of the cornerbacks that we were looking at. That's going to be Siegel from Kansas State. We're going to talk about Potts. We're going to talk about Castro. Spongy knows all about Hancock from Ohio State, and Upton, Stout. And then Walters from Miami, Ohio, who we're going to talk about here in a moment. Oklahoma, thank you for the correction there, Sponge, as well. Interesting numbers, though, talking about highest man coverage usage. Xavier Watts from Notre Dame, even though he was a safety, was in man coverage 62.2% of the time, absolute highest number in this draft class. It's really why I was so high on this young man. Not only did he put up great numbers, great interceptions, but he showed the ability to play in man coverage as well. Carter Jr. from Eastern Michigan, 48.4, and then Reed from Penn State, and then Siegel right behind him, which we're going to talk about Siegel. Highest zone users, guys, Ashbury, which we talked about in the missed tackle rate, Makuba, and then Potts, which we're going to talk about here lately. All right, so we heard Jordan Hancock, his name come up a lot. We heard Malaki Moore's name come up a lot. These are some of the bigger name guys. Hancock, a 2-year starter. Malaki Moore, 3-year starter. Moore, played more in the slot year 1 and 2, moved back to that deep safety in year 3 and thrived. If we didn't go and get the Georgia safety, we absolutely needed to go get Malaki Moore. He's going to be a steal on day 3 for somebody. Jordan Hancock played a lot of big games for Ohio State, played 419. He played actually more in the slot than he played as a safety, but he played 200 snaps deep as well this year. I love what he can do. Day 3, he's going to be a steal. Keaton Crawford, Nevada. I think they had a safety go last year, didn't they, as well? Essentially a 3-year starter, really bloomed in year 3 where he played everywhere for them. 177 in the slot, 312 in the box, 351 deep. He was everywhere for the Wolfpack this year. Had pretty good games, but it's going to be about the level of competition. But we talked about, though, he looked good at the combine. He was one of our highest risers at the combine in the drills. Upton Stout, everyone's been in love with this kid. He's more of a name to most people. Played a ton in the slot this year. Basically is a corner that he played more outside corner than anything, but this year they just played him everywhere for Western Kentucky. I love the versatility that he brings. Didn't play good against Alabama, played okay against Boston College. So there is the level of competition, but also I believe he was one of the Senior Bowl standouts. So you absolutely love to see that. Craig Woodson, California Golden Bear, I believe is projected to be maybe a 5th round pick. Leads, if I'm not mistaken here. My apologies, I'm double checking on my notes here. Oh, I feel like I had something on him. But great ball skills, 3-year starter that got every year better for the California Bears. Played primarily deep, but played box and slot a lot for them. I think he played everywhere. He had good games against Florida State, Miami, Stanford, SMU. I mean, he played pretty good quality ball. High forced incompletion rate for him. 21.1. I love his effort. I think he's going to be a steal for somebody. I think like I said, he's predicted to go in the 5th. So Siegel, we talked about a lot in the slot. He's a safety, but when you look at his alignment, he played 500 plus snaps in the slot for Kansas State 2 years in a row. Great run defense grades, a little bit of a missed tackle issue, but high effort guy that could develop into someone. Again, a lot of these safeties are going to be potential slot guys as well. Does got to improve in the coverage a little bit, but he's a guy also that stood out for me in my tier 2 of safeties. Jamal Potts, we mentioned this guy a little bit. FIU Golden Panther, 6'2", 193. He's got beautiful prototypical size. A 3-year starter for FIU. Played all 4 years, though. Played pretty good every single year. But the thing is going to, of course, be the level of competition. Played pretty good against Indiana, though, which we talked about Rourke a lot, which was one of his bigger games. Might have, of course, a little bit of tackle issues that looks like he got better as the season went on. But, of course, there was the level of competition. But he's a guy that leads or he's one of my guys also that allowed, I think, no touchdowns. Oh my gosh, I'm just like failing on all my notes today. I'm so sorry. I think he's got potential, but I guess we'll see. He might end up undrafted. This is another guy could end up undrafted. Gabe Taylor out of Rice. He's 5 years playing for Rice. 4-year starter. He's played 500 snaps minimum for 4 years straight. They moved him more from slot to inside, but in 2022, he played a majority in the slot, had a great year in coverage. They moved him more to safety, a traditional safety in 2023. He had a down year. Came back, rebounded in 2024, putting up one of his best coverage years. Again, Rice didn't have the best level of competition this year. Played pretty good against UConn, USF. But 5'10", 190, I like his versatility. Oh, that's Sean Taylor's brother. Good to know. I like his versatility. I think he's a guy that might be able to develop into a Swiss Army knife style player in the NFL, and he's got great size. Trickweeze Bridges is one of these guys that gave up, is one of our safeties that gave up 0 touchdowns, if I remember correctly. Where's that Brides? I don't know. I might have got all my safeties messed up. Oh, no, Bridges. Yeah. One of the lowest NFL ratings when targeted. Doesn't like jump out on you in any one game, but wasn't targeted at all in the Miami game. Targeted 5 times against LSU, but only gave up 2 catches for 16 yards. Targeted 5 times in the Florida State game, gave up 3 for 36. Tennessee, 1 target, no yards. I mean, 3-year player for Oregon, transferred to Florida, and still had a great year in a brand new system. He played against a lot of really good competition this year. Doesn't have the greatest missed tackle rate, but again, if we're talking about NFL rating when targeted, he's actually one of the better safeties. 6'2", 200 pounds. He's got great size. Longest play he gave up as a safety was 26 yards. Didn't play a lot in the slot, but he played free safety and box a good bit. I like the interchangeability. He's got great size. I got a feeling that he can develop into a pretty good player. Ole Miss, man, 4 targets, only 1 catch. And so it's not like teams didn't go after him. They went after him and he still put up pretty good numbers. I think he's going to be one of those guys that I have not seen a single mock draft where this kid's taken, but I think he's got a place on a team somewhere. One of the last guys I think we've got here on the list, we got 3 guys left. Nate Valcarell, Northern Illinois Husky, played at South Dakota, basically transferred out. 2-year starter for Northern Illinois. 7.8 missed tackle rate on the career, only 2% this year. Pretty low NFL target rating. He played pretty dang well this year. 1 target against Notre Dame, didn't get up a catch. So he got out of Notre Dame with 34 coverage snaps against his 22 run defense snaps. So way more coverage snaps, and he got out of there without giving up anything. That was his big game, but it was enough to catch me on Hit the Radar. Also, great tackler. 2% missed tackle rate. Struggled a little bit against Notre Dame, but, for the Northern Illinois team, I'm not hating on it. Yeah, I got to eat and walk my dog, so we're going to run through these last ones. Love this kid, Northern Illinois Husky, 6'1", 192. He's got great size. This kid's going to be a steal for a team on day 3. Trey Washington, 5'10", 205-pound safety from Ole Miss, the Mississippi Rebels. Played against a lot of really good teams this year. He's essentially a 3-year, 2.5-year maybe starter. Put together 4 good years of work out there at Ole Miss. 5.9 missed tackle rate on the season. You'll love to see it. He's a great tackler, and even against higher level competition, he put together some good tackling. I think, again, this kid's going to be a steal. I think there's going to be a lot of safeties that are stealing this draft. And last guy on this list, Miami, Ohio Redhawks, Silas Waters, 6'1", 198. Just this kid's, I think's got potential. Had a really good game against Ohio State. Ohio went after him 3 times, and he shut down Ohio all 3 times. He gave up 1 catch, basically, for 11 yards to Notre Dame. He then replayed Ohio State in the championship and still played good against them. And when you see a team twice like that and you still play well, I'm drooling over this kid later in the draft. I'm telling you, 2-year starter for Miami, Ohio, played a ton of snaps more this year. I think this kid, I'm banging the table if he's there like in the 6th and 7th. Banging the table, I'm telling you. The kids, some of those kids, especially those safeties, I think have so much potential later in this draft. I am so freaking excited. We're probably not going to see any of those names go tonight, and that's a good thing. I'm going to try to get the offensive special put together like that for tomorrow. It's going to be really hard. I might not sleep much tonight. I also, man, tonight's supposed to be gym night, and I already was joking with the girlfriend. I'm like, maybe I'll just continue to stream later tonight from the gym and talk about the draft as I work out. But we'll see. I appreciate anyone and everyone who comes in. Much love. Probably going to get no views. Might just be my last draft special ever. Join us later tonight. We're going to be going live. David McNiner, Sponge, and a ton of great guys as we cover day 2 of the 2025 NFL draft, rounds 2 and 3. There's going to be a ton of excitement. We saw some odd picks in the first round. I think we're going to see some trades up here in the second. A lot of really good players left on the board here. It's going to be a good one. But with that, I got to go walk my dog, stuff some food down my throat as fast as possible. Probably just going to be like some instant ramen from some boiled water. I hope everyone has a wonderful night if I don't see you here for the draft. And good luck to every team that is drafting tonight. I wish every single one of y'all the best. I got to make sure I get that in before they say that few message tonight. To my newest viewer, I appreciate you. Make sure you come back and watch. Hopefully we'll have the next special out before the draft tomorrow. Much love and best luck, guys. I'll see y'all in about a half hour.